Hi, hi everyone. I was still figuring out the internet connection. I didn't want um, any sort of issues. What's yours? Okay. Um, I don't know if anyone is live. I'm sorry for postponing yesterday. I keep on repeating this on every live. I'm sure a lot of you are sick of hearing me say this. But I do a lot of this alone, so that means, oh, what's up? What's up, man? Did I see you in the comment section before? Yeah, I'm going to break down every single fight now. I'm sorry about yesterday. I do a lot of the things on the channel alone, so it was too hectic. I felt like I wasn't prepared enough. Even today, I don't feel like I'm significantly prepared, but I wrote down notes, so I'm going to try and go through all of them just so that I give you the best possible amount of information as possible. Hi, what's up? Ali? Yeah, what's up? So let's get to it. The first fight is Hardy versus Hoth. This is a tough one to call because on one hand, we have Hoth, who is undefeated, definitely the better striker with good takedown defense, but she's 35. She's 35 years old and has only had one fight in the UFC. On the other hand, we have Hardy, who is one of those privileged few fighters who have a lot of experience in the UFC, and she's only 28 years old. I ended up going with Hoth because I think despite her age, she's still good enough to prevent a takedown. And if she can successfully do that on the feet, Hoth is the better striker, and I don't see Hardy being that good at taking people down. So I'm going with Hoth. My subscribers went with Hardy. On to the next one. Guys, I'm going to try and go through the picks and then I'll respond to, hey Jaws, how are you? Jay Z, I think. I'll respond to all your comments when I'm done here. I think that's a little bit better. So on to the next one, Terman versus Gooden, right? This is another close one because both have fought more or less the same people and largely equally matched, especially on the feet. However, I feel like Gooden has more power, which I think will give him the advantage in the striking exchanges. Another thing is both fighters have terrible takedown defense. However, Gooden has better takedown accuracy. So I think if ever it comes down to who's going to take who to the ground, Gooden, in my personal opinion, is going to more likely be able to take down Turman than Turman is going to be able to take down Gooden. In my opinion, that's basically how I feel about it. I feel like all round, I don't think both fighters are incredible, especially when it comes to the ground. It's easy to take them down. So the only way I see Turnman having an advantage on the ground is if he somehow manages to reverse positions. But other than that, I don't see Turnman having any sort of advantage. And this is essentially why I went with Gooden. My subscribers went with Turman, so I guess we'll just have to see who was correct on that one. So yeah, on to the next one. Bellato versus Portieria. On paper, Bellato is the better fighter everywhere and has more ways to win, except maybe when it comes to power, because I think Portieria has a lot more power than Bellato. So that means Bellato has a higher probability of winning. However, at any point he could get KO'd, especially because Bellato's defense, especially when it comes to striking, I don't think he has good striking defense. Um, Plus, Potieria has 3 fights in the UFC. His last one being against Carlos Ulberg. And even though he got KO'd in the second round, he got some high level experience, which might help him moving forward. On the other hand, this is Bellato's first UFC fight. Even though my subscribers and I both picked Bellato, this could be one of those fights that could go either way. I think who knows because Bellato has not the UFC, so I don't know how it's going to perform against a seasoned. Okay, maybe seasoned is a strong word, because the guy has only had 3 fights. But I don't know how he's going to perform against someone who's been able to fight people like Carlos Ulberg, so I guess we'll just have to wait and see. On to the next one. On this one, my subscribers and I think picked Bellator. Garcia versus Costa. With me, or I don't know what they were doing, but they said this fight was cancelled. But as far as I'm going to proceed to break this fight down. Costa is good. I think Garcia is better, especially when you consider the fact that Garcia TKO'd Chase Hooper. And we saw how good Chase Hooper was in his last fight against Jordan Levitt. I think it was 2 weeks back. So we saw how incredible Chase Hooper is. I don't think Costa will survive on the feet, which means his best option is to take Garcia down. The problem with that is I don't think Garcia will be very easy to take down. It is surprising to see that Costa is the heavy, because I genuinely think that Garcia is going to win this fight. But I guess this is one of those fights that, that's bad. It's cancelled. Oh, I didn't know that. Thank you. Maybe I shouldn't. Wow, last week. Why haven't I heard anything about that? Okay, let me go to the next one then. Klaus versus Solecki. Is Klaus versus Solecki cancelled? Do you guys know? Should I proceed? Because it seems like every fight is being cancelled. But just in case, fight in a few hours. Let's go. Universe blesses with some moolah. Okay. Klaus versus Solecki. On Wednesday, I posted the wrong picture of Solecki, and they went for me in the comment section. Guys, always remember that I do this largely by myself. So sometimes I do this when I'm tired at night, so mistakes happen, and this was probably, I think, the first mistake I've ever made. But fortunately, the statistics were correct. It's just the picture that I got wrong, because I remember I was so tired. I was half asleep when I was making that video. So my bad. But let's just proceed to the fight. In my opinion, Solecki has the slight advantage everywhere, whether on the feet or on the ground. And please understand me when I say slight, because it's not a significant advantage. However, the most glaringly obvious advantage that Klaus has is his experience, because he has fought people like Dariush, and even if he got finished in that particular fight, he got experience against one of the best in the division. So that might help him. Plus, he has a win over Bobby Green, and we've seen how well that has aged. So but for me personally, I still feel like that's not going to be enough to get Klaus the win against Solecki. I still feel like Solecki will have some level of advantage over Klaus. So for me personally, even though I feel like this might be one of those fights that might end up in a split decision, in my personal opinion, because it might be so close that it could go either way. And I feel like both would be so closely matched that they'd be able to cancel each other out, and it could go to either fighter. But in this particular scenario, I think Solecki will be able to manage to squeeze out a win. My subscribers went with Klaus. So this is another one where we disagree, but that's healthy. I'm for disagreement. Reese versus Brandage. Oh, guys, after Brandage's last fight, I told myself, even if they put a bucket in front of Brandage, I'm never picking this guy to win. Largely because I feel like he milked that foul and was basically chasing a DQ win, which I feel like was dishonorable, because I feel like that foul was not that bad for him to have behaved the way he did. So clearly he was chasing a foul win. So for me personally, it's difficult for me to think that Brandage will win this fight, largely because he gave up on in his last fight. As someone who gives up, in my opinion, I don't feel like is going to win or is going to be successful in the UFC. On the other hand, we have Reese, who I feel like is a good prospect. I don't know if he's an incredible prospect. I'm still yet to see how good he is, but I still feel like Brandage, unfortunately, and it hurts me to say this, on paper, Brandage is the better fighter. On paper. This is largely because there's not enough information on Reese to be able to say, um, even his fights, I don't feel like it's enough for me to be, because I haven't seen him against high level competition like the UFC fighters. Sometimes there are some fights whereby I'm able to say, okay, it doesn't matter that he hasn't been in the UFC. But in this particular situation, I'm curious to see how he performs. Because even though I don't like Brandage, I can still admit to the fact that Brandage is decent. The one issue that I have is that he gives up. So I don't know how this is going to play out. But my subscribers went with Brandage. I'm going with what do you call him, Reese, largely because it's possible that Brandage's last performance might motivate him to maybe improve and come back stronger and better and try to maybe clean his name, but he hasn't had a great record of beating people. I'm referring to Brandage, so I don't feel like Brandage is going to win. Even though on paper, I will agree that on paper Brandage is a better fighter, but something tells me he's not going to win this fight. But once again, my subscribers went with Brandage. I'm sticking with my pick of Reese. So yeah, um, that's it. On to the next one, Tate versus Avila. You guys, I think some of you know how I feel about older fighters. Um, Tate is now 37, and I think her time away took something from her. She doesn't even look like a top five contender. And please don't get me wrong, I still feel like I still feel like this fight could be like close fight. It could go to a decision, a close decision potentially. But I feel like the age and as well as what do you call it? The age as well as the time away will have taken so much out of Tate that I feel like it will give Avila a significant advantage. So I honestly don't feel like Tate is going to win this fight. Although I'm not saying she's not good, she might surprise us. I still feel like Tate is good, but she's not as good as she used to be. I feel like she lost it. Yeah, I also got Avila on this one, and I'm sticking to that particular pick. My subscribers also picked Avila to win this fight. On to the next one, Punahele versus Dustin. Damn it. I feel like both fighters are average, in my personal opinion. I don't think both fighters are incredible fighters. Both Punahele and Dustin are not that great, but I feel like what's going to be the deciding factor, in my personal opinion, is power. And I feel like Punahele Soriano has a bit more power than Dustin, which makes me lean more towards Punahele. So I think that's going to be the big difference maker. I think there's a probability that Punahele gets a knockout over Dustin. So my subscribers and I went with Punahele Soriano on this particular one. Guida versus Silva. Here's another one. The same situation as Misha Tate. Guida is still good, but I honestly cannot look at. If you look at Silva's last fight against Arman Tsarukyan, Silva managed to get to the third round and actually hurt Tsarukyan. So that speaks volumes about how good the guy is. I don't know why he hasn't managed to get to a higher level in his division. But obviously, lightweight is one of the most difficult divisions in the UFC, if not the most difficult divisions in the UFC. I think you'll have more success in middleweight. Now, welterweight used to be a little bit easier, obviously, except at the top with Kamaru Usman as the champion. But welterweight used to be a lot easier. Middleweight used to be the one of the easiest ones, in my personal opinion, even in the top five, except maybe two people, the champion, maybe Robert Whittaker and Israel Adesanya. But now it's getting a little bit more competitive. It's getting a little bit more difficult with people like Brandon and Hamza Chimaev and all these type of people. So it's going to be interesting. Back to lightweight. I feel like lightweight is one of those difficult divisions. So maybe that's why Silva has not risen to the point whereby he is competing on with top tier contenders. But I still feel like his performance against Arman is testament to how good he is, because that's something that I'm a huge fan of Islam, but even Islam couldn't do that to Arman. Like, he couldn't hurt him like Silva did. Even though Silva lost that fight, but nonetheless, still, he was able to put Arman in a lot of trouble. I don't think I have to even convince anyone to pick Silva, because I think everyone agrees that Silva is going to win this fight. So my subscribers and I picked Silva to win. I mean, Guida's 41, guys, and at lightweight, it's not like Glover at light heavyweight. At heavier weights, you can still be good at an older age, but at 41, at lightweight, it's not gonna work out for him. Brady versus Gastelum. This is an interesting and fun one. I'm excited for this fight. I don't know why people all of a sudden after Calvin Gastelum got a decision win because of a foul, an eye poke, which I personally feel was the main reason why he won that fight. Obviously, people disagree with me, but personally, I feel like the eye poke played a huge role in Gastelum getting a decision win. Because without that eye poke, that fight would have been either closer or significantly different, in my personal opinion. And on top of that, people are forgetting that Gastelum was losing fights before that decision win. Like, a lot of people were picking against him going into that fight. So people are forgetting that. On the other hand, we have Brady, who is proven at 170, who has beaten people at 170, and has risen to a significantly good position in that particular division, and has only lost once to the guy who is second in terms of his win streak, second to the champion. So he lost to Bilal, who is now a title contender, who has the second longest streak in that particular division. So I don't think it's a bad loss, in my personal opinion. And on the feet, I don't think Brady will be lost if he somehow cannot manage to take Kelvin down. That's how I look at it. I still feel like even if Brady is unable to take Kelvin down, he's still going to be able to survive on the feet, and he still has a decent chance of actually winning on the feet. I know that Calvin Gastelum is a great striker, but I don't feel like Brady is going to be lost on the feet. I think Brady is still exceptionally good as a striker. So I don't honestly understand where this pick of Gastelum and where this hype of Gastelum is coming from. Maybe people are a fan of him. People are nostalgic. They remember a time when Gastelum was beating up Israel Adesanya, and it was fun. It was great. The fight was incredible. It was amazing. So people are missing that, and they see that, they want to see that, but I don't think that guy is there anymore. Maybe he might surprise me at 170, but the guy was losing fights, guys. We can make excuses and say, well, he was shorter and everything like that, but that also then means he doesn't have a lot of fight IQ, because why would you fight in a division where you have a disadvantage? So for me, even if you make an excuse that he was losing fights at 185 because of his size, then it comes down to then fight IQ. It means his fight IQ is not that great, which is bad. So for me personally, I don't know, but I feel like Brady has a higher chance of winning this fight because also I remember in the beginning of this live I spoke about fighters who move up become a little bit more successful. When you look at Robert Whitaker, who was at 170 and was getting knocked out and moved up to 170, 185 and became the champion. Same thing with Gilbert Burns, who was getting finished at lightweight and then moved up to 170 and has only lost to Usman and Bilal, which are really not that bad losses. So for me personally, Gastelum moving down is not as good as people think it'll be. Look at what happened to Dan Hooker. Do you guys remember when Dan Hooker was trying to fight at featherweight? Like the guy was finished horribly. So moving down does not really work for someone. In most cases, especially the older you get, when you move down, it affects your body differently. Maybe if you have been fighting in that particular division for a long period of time, maybe it might be different. I don't know. Maybe your body will have been used to it. And even though maybe Calvin Gastelum is a natural 170, maybe that's the case, but he hasn't been making that particular weight for a very long time. So how do you guys know that he's going to be able to, his body will be able to respond to that particular weight? Because he's cutting down, he's not moving up. So cutting down in most cases does not really affect the body positively. But nonetheless, I still think Gastelum is a good fighter, but I don't think he's going to beat Brady. Like Brady can stand with him, in my personal opinion, and Brady will finish him on the ground. So I'm going with Brady. My subscribers went with Calvin Gastelum. I think I made my point as to why I'm picking Brady, and I'm pretty confident about my decision. On to the next one, Font versus Figueiredo. Here's a different example. You heard me speaking about Calvin Gastelum moving down and not it being a positive thing. This is the opposite. Figueiredo is moving up, which will significantly benefit him. It will improve his cardio. It will improve his ability to take punches. It won't be as easy to knock him out. On the other hand, Font is one of those tough fighters. Damn it. I didn't. I remember picking against him. I can't remember who he was fighting in his last, not last fight, the fight before that. The guy was, I feel like he was the favorite, and I wasn't on that hype train. Okay, I wasn't on the hype train. I just felt like he was the better fighter. But Font was really difficult to get out there. Like Font is really, really tough, man. And it seems like when people are unable to hurt him, he becomes more dangerous because it's like, oh, you hit me with your best shots and you couldn't take me out, so now I'm going to come for you. I think that's how Font works. So it was incredible to see, but I still feel like Figueiredo is the better fighter in every sense of the word. He was still performing well and was able to become a champion, even though he was killing himself to make the weight. Do you know how incredible that is for someone to become a champion? It's kind of like Alex Pereira. Alex Pereira was killing himself to make 185, but he still managed to become a champion. That's how incredible those type of fighters are. So I feel like Figueiredo is that type of a fighter. I think him moving up will work for him as opposed to against him. So I'm going with Davis and Figueiredo. My subscribers are also going with Davis and Figueiredo. I saw Jay-Z saying he's going with Font. I guess we'll just have to see, guy. We'll just have to see. On to the next one, Turner versus Green. Yeah, Green is like, who's that guy who beat one of the Bonfim brothers a couple of weeks ago? I think he's like that. It saddens me that he's getting to this form late in his career. Bobby Green is good, but he's becoming good. Thank you very much, Princeton. I hope I pronounced your your name correctly. So, what do you call him? Bobby Green is one of those good fighters who became good too late in their careers, right? And as much as people want to admit it, once you get to a certain age, um, it your endurance drops, your speed drops, your ability to take a punch drops. The reason he won, in my personal opinion, against Dawson is because Dawson is a heavy grappler, not a striker. Jalen Turner was able to hurt Dan Hooker to a point whereby Dan Hooker was bloodied and had to get surgery. Think about that. Jalen Turner, on top of being a good striker, he has reach. He has reach. I feel like Bobby Green works well against people his size. I don't think he does well when people are a bit bigger than him, or in this case, shorter. And I know Jalen Turner is coming in on short notice, but he was preparing for a fight in January, so it's not like the guy is out of shape, right? He was preparing for a fight in January. I can't remember against who's this guy? Moicano. I think he was preparing to fight Moicano in January. So it's not like Jalen Turner is out of shape, right? So for me personally, it's gonna be very difficult. It might be a close fight. Bobby Green might surprise us, but I highly doubt, man. I think Jalen Turner is really good. I just think maybe he sometimes doubts himself, but I think Jalen Turner is really, really incredibly good. So I think he wins this one. I don't know how, unfortunately, but I'm going with Jalen Turner. My subscribers also went with Jalen Turner. Princeton, I'm going to respond to comments once I'm done with this final fight. I'm going to try and go through all the comments and try to reply to them. I saw some of the people who were asking these questions have left the chat. Maybe they'll come back. They'll come back later, maybe after I'm done with the stream. So I'll try to answer your questions first because it seems like you're the only one online. Is it? Or maybe I'm not seeing. How many are you online? Because on my side, I'm only seeing one. YouTube is sabotaging me, right, guys? I only see one person, but there's multiple people commenting in the comment section below. But on to the next one, Dariush versus Tsarukyan. Woo! Um, yeah, this is going to be a tough one, right? My subscribers and I picked Tsarukyan, right? Because for me, it is difficult to see Tsarukyan's performance against Islam and for me to imagine him losing against Dariush. And I know people will bring up Gamrot, right? Which is a valid thing, but for me, I think Gamrot lost that fight because he tried to strike with Dariush. If he didn't try to strike with him and try to grapple with him, I think Gamrot would have won that fight. And I'll make an example with Oralbi versus Medic, which happened I think two weeks ago. Oralbi came in on 4 days' notice and was able to dominate Medic on the ground. I use Medic as an example because Medic trains with Dariush, if I'm not mistaken. Medic trains with Dariush. So the point I'm trying to make here is I think Dariush is technically good, not strong. After the fight between Medic and Oralbi, I learned something. There are people who are technically good at either striking or grappling, right? But let's focus on grappling. There are people who are technically good at grappling, and there are people who don't have that much technique but are strong in grappling exchanges, and there are people like Islam and Tsarukyan and Gamrot who are a hybrid of both. And for me personally, I think Tsarukyan will try to grapple. And if he does, it might look, even if it doesn't look similar to what Oralbi did to Medic, but I think Tsarukyan will probably be able to dominate if he's smart enough to take this fight to the ground. On the feet, I feel like Dariush might have an advantage. Similarly, with how it took place, how the fight with Gamrot went. I honestly hope that Tsarukyan is not planning on striking with this guy. Because if he tries to strike with Dariush, it's gonna be a really tough one, in my opinion. I don't know who's going to win, but if I was to pick who is better at striking, I'd say it's Dariush. But if I was to say who has a higher probability of winning, I'd say Tsarukian. It's a tough one to call because I feel like on the feet Dariush is better, on the ground Tsarukian is better. Now I don't know. I think Tsarukian is good at taking people down, so it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out. But Dariush is like 35 now. I don't know if he's going to be able to keep up with the pressure, keep up with the strength of Tsarukian. I'm hoping that Tsarukian grapples because I don't know what's going to happen if he decides to stand with that guy, with Dariush, because Dariush is good on the feet, guys. But nonetheless, my subscribers and I went with Tsarukian. Um, Thank you for tuning in, guys. I see the numbers increasing every single week. I'm seeing new faces. It seems like Princeton is one of those new faces. It seems like Disney Boy is one of those new faces. Last week, I think Jay-Z came in. Who else? Who else? Who else? My day one, Tweezy. Tweezy is one who actually I know. I see him every time in my what do you call it? In my comments when I go live every single time. So to everyone who doesn't know when I go live usually Monday and Friday. So I usually schedule my lives a day before so that everyone anywhere in the world can see it in their own time zones. So that you don't see it in the time zone that I have said, you can see it in your own time zone. Um, hey Jay Z, yeah. So I appreciate everyone who joins me live. It really means a lot because the reason I could just do these videos and just post them on my standard videos, but I really want to interact with you guys. That's why I respond to every single comment. Um, I appreciate you guys. Please join me every single time I go live, every um, Monday and Friday. Maybe I might start making it Saturday, but nonetheless, I'll try to make sure I schedule it in advance so that you guys will be in a better position to know when I'm going to go live. I'm trying to see if I can do something, but I have something nice planned for you guys in December. I hope you like it. I think you're going to like the content that I'm going to make for December. It's going to be incredible, incredible. I've never seen these images before. Thank you. Um, I appreciate you guys for being live. Let me try and respond to your comments. I'll join every live. Yeah, no, I appreciate that. Let me go to the very top. Oh, this is probably record breaking comments. So yeah, I'm responding to your comments. I have bought 2 tickets. 2 tickets for what already? First one I got Arman Tsarukyan, Figueiredo, Joaquim Silva. Uh, yeah, I think those are the people who win the fights. I agree with some of the picks that you made. I don't know. I can't see them properly. Oh, Avila, Julia Avila, Zachary Reese. Yeah, I think you picked everyone that I picked. If you are just joining me live, you can always rewind to the beginning of the live to see the full picks that I made. Right now, I'm responding to comments. But if you want to see my picks, you can rewind the live and just watch it from there. because I'm done with breaking down fights. Just rewind and just watch it from the beginning. Um, and the second ticket I have Arman Tsarukyan, Figueiredo, Zachary Reese, Joaquin Silva, Bobby Green, and Sean Brady. I don't know if Bobby Green